You know, Steve, before I ask you a question, I just want to mention something here. Think of the extreme, and I mean extreme cost involved in what's going on here. You know, so as crime soars throughout this city, you have a prosecutor that ran on the idea that he was going to prosecute less crime.
Yeah, and he said getting Trump was his #1 priority.
Right,
too.
which that he's actually keeping to.
Yeah, he's kept that promise.
But he hasn't met a felony that he wanted to decriminalize yet. But yet for this, he's going to spend all of this taxpayer money. I think that in and of itself is a travesty. But, you know, Steve, given that this is a former president with the Secret Service detail, how does that complicate the actual logistics now that you have a federal agency that they are responsible for his safety, but yet you have the NYPD and the court officers and so on? How does this process come together?
Well, to begin, Mike, Semper Fi, by the way. Thanks for your service.
Hoorah, thank you.
Well, to begin with, you know, as Anna said, you've got the best police department on the planet preparing for this. They've collected enough intelligence and information since they realized Donald Trump was coming to New York to mitigate any possible threat. Whether it be a physical threat or any type of threat that would be heightening the awareness of the police department. But Mike, just to follow up on what you just said about the cost. You know, the DA, by producing this show, because this is what it's become, a ridiculous show, is putting a lot of people's lives in danger, the lives of law enforcement people, civilians, etc. This could have been done on the internet like they did during the COVID years when you had court cases on either Zoom or Skype or whatever. So it is going to be very, very costly. And at the end of the day, I really believe the president will be exonerated. And let me add this. And Rita, you mentioned this in your opening. This is not a fight against Democrat, Republican. It's a fight against America versus communism. If anything comes out of this good, obviously the president will be exonerated, but the American people will be awakened to the threat of communism we have in this country. And the Democrat Party has leaned so far towards a communist ideology. We, the American people, need to stand up and fight back within the framework of the law, and then they lose, we win.
You know, Rita, Steve just made a point about communism. People need to remember there are countries all over the world where if you're the political opposition, you get put in jail.
Right.
That's what happens in banana republics, for real. It's not just a talking point.
And they're watching us now, by the way, a lot of countries right now, too, and saying, what is going on?
Exactly.
Who is it? The president of El Salvador came out and said, don't talk to us about human rights. Look at what's happening now in America. So the world is watching. And the credibility
we lose on that world stage affects all of our diplomacy throughout the world, and we know there's a lot going on from Ukraine, Russia, China. You can keep going, you know, all of these things.
And Bragg is focused on Trump.
And he's focused on Trump.
Never a dull moment.